blooming beneath her as she hovers above the frozen devastation and looks down on her trapped enemies. A colossal crystalline ice rose descends from the sky, glowing with lethal frost as the green-haired Zhang Ji looks up and scoffs at the idea of a flower being used as a weapon. But his arrogance shatters the instant the rose crashes down in a thunderous boom, erupting jagged ice spikes and freezing energy across the battlefield. Nearby Red City fighters cheer too early, convinced their side still holds the advantage, until the frost clears to reveal Zhang Ji completely sealed inside a massive block of ice, humiliated and helpless, while a red-capped youth steps forward to mock him for being defeated so easily and wonders how he will explain getting wrecked by a woman. Above them all, the white-haired ice queen in a pink cape stands atop the frozen structure with absolute dominance and coldly declares they are next. Yet before panic can settle in, glowing heart-tipped arrows suddenly streak through the air, striking the remaining suited henchmen and leaving them stunned. The whimsical love attack ending the clash with mocking finality. Two fighters suddenly stand frozen as lifeless stone statues in the forest, leaving the white-haired woman and the red-capped youth staring in shock and confusion until the boy senses another presence and shouts that a new challenger has arrived. A flash of light erupts and Nico appears with spreading succubus wings, rushing straight into Harem's arms with tearful devotion as pink hearts swirl around them, explaining she felt his need and came instantly, her loyalty absolute while he praises her warmly, the battlefield turning awkwardly affectionate in front of stunned enemies. Watching this intimate reunion, the white-haired woman trembles with rising anger, trying to deny her jealousy yet clearly unable to endure their closeness, and at last she bursts into motion, leaping into the air with her cloak flaring as she yells for them to stop and demands that Harem immediately restore the two petrified companions to normal, her fury cutting sharply through the romantic tension. A red-capped youth wearing a heavy gold chain moves with terrifying speed, shocking his opponents as he casually mocks them for striking his people, then releases a crushing shockwave that sends everyone reeling and reveals the overwhelming truth. He is a gold upper-class awakened far beyond their level, a realization that chills Harem and Nico as the boy boasts that capturing a rare vampire and succubus will finally earn his father's approval. With death closing in, Harem recalls a system. Rule that reaching 100% affection with a follower unlocks an unknown reward and decides to gamble everything on it. But before any plan can unfold, the smiling attacker advances and promises Nico she won't feel a thing, her desperate volley of heart-shaped arrows shattering uselessly against his golden aura as he flips effortlessly through the assault and lunges to end the battle, until a final prompt ignites in crimson light. Skill activated, Crimson Flash. Crimson Flash ignites and the dark-haired protagonist vanishes with Nico in his arms, reappearing deep within the woods while the red-capped hunter stands stunned in drifting dust, unable to believe a mere Tier 2 moved faster than his sight. But the escape is fragile. Both flashes are spent, no path to run remains, and survival now depends on unlocking a mysterious system reward tied to Nico's affection, frustrating him when saving her brings no immediate increase as she instead blames herself for being useless and vows to do better, pushing him to make a ruthless calculation as he suddenly pulls her close and kisses her despite the deadly enemy nearby. Nico shocked yet yielding out of devotion while heartbeats and sparkles flood the moment, until a pink notification appears. System. Nico's affection 99%, signaling the brink of a decisive power-up. Battle frozen mid-chaos as the dark-haired master kisses Nico in the forest while their red-capped, gold aura opponent rages at the sight, veins bulging as he explodes with power that cracks the ground beneath him and charges to kill them before the system countdown finishes. The protagonist realizes he is only 1% away from a critical breakthrough but has no time, until a towering extreme ice shield erupts around the couple, deflecting the attack and revealing the leash wearer who coldly declares the vampire is hers to claim, forcing a tense standoff while the enemy fumes. In that single stolen moment, the system window finally flashes. Nico's affection 100%, leaving Nico flushed, breathless, and overwhelmed with devotion as the completed milestone signals a coming power surge that could completely reverse the battle. Peak Blood unlocks as a one-time mysterious reward, granting the full attributes and skills of the Blood Demon God for 10 minutes. Red energy spirals around the Gothic-clad protagonist as the ground shatters and a colossal crimson pillar erupts skyward, shockwaves tearing across the forest while stunned onlookers tremble in fear, and the red-capped enemy realizes the Tier 2 monster he mocked now radiates overwhelming dominance. Calm and indifferent, the transformed vampire invites an attack that never comes, then activates Demon Hand. An unseen force hoists gold upperclass U1 into the air before a glowing crimson grip closes around his throat, crushing his resistance and leaving him choking out desperate pleas for mercy as absolute power finally shifts into the protagonist's hands. U1, the gold upperclass fighter who once stood arrogant, now trembles in terror and begs for his life as the calm, red-eyed protagonist coldly notes the sudden change in tone, seizes him by the throat, and lifts him effortlessly while the defeated man cries that he was blind to such overwhelming strength. In that moment, the protagonist feels a flash of déjà vu, recalling when he himself was once treated like worthless trash. Yet mercy never comes. Surrounded by a raging crimson aura, he rejects forgiveness, hurls U1 away, then follows with a devastating strike that blasts through his body and sends him crashing violently through a massive wall, shattering stone and ice in a catastrophic explosion that leaves the battlefield consumed by debris and the enemy utterly overwhelmed. U1, the so-called gold upperclass fighter, lies in the dust with torn clothes and broken pride, coughing helplessly, while the red-eyed protagonist calmly stands in his dark vampire cloak, realizing the overwhelming power of the Blood Demon God, and enjoying the feeling of looking down on others as two shocked women watch in disbelief, one questioning if he is the same little vampire and the horned succubus trembling while calling him master. Suddenly Zhang Zhu, a gold lower-class fighter, bursts from void energy, claiming he was only sealed by carelessness, and releases a fierce green aura vowing to stop holding back, but the protagonist answers with silence, spreading his cloak as a massive swarm of screeching black bats floods the battlefield, tearing into Zhang Zhu's body as he panics in disgust before the shadows and blood-red energy completely engulf him, leaving nothing visible inside the crushing sphere. The battlefield falls silent as the remains of a defeated gold-tier enemy crumble into a skeleton on the forest floor, Crimson system notifications flashing wildly to announce multiple level-ups and newly gained attribute points. Calm and composed, the red-eyed protagonist checks his status and discovers he has risen 5 levels in a single leap, unlocking a devastating new skill, Red Storm, capable of unleashing a massive bat swarm that devours everything in its path. Not far away, the arrogant young man in the red cap and rich gold chain is reduced to trembling fear, begging desperately for mercy as the protagonist approaches with suffocating pressure and cold mockery. Clinging to hope, he blurts out that his father is the president of the elite center and promises anything in exchange for his life. With chilling politeness, the protagonist pretends to be kind, offering to help him go home. Overwhelmed with relief, the victim gratefully believes he has been spared, until invisible force lifts him helplessly into the sky. With a casual farewell, the protagonist hurls him across the horizon like a blazing comet of red light. Far in the distance, 2 stunned onlookers watch the streak tear through the sky toward City J, realizing the cruel truth behind that so-called kindness. The man is indeed going home, just not alive when he arrives. Li Shuer in a pink blazer stares toward the distant mountains and suddenly realizes the blazing trajectory in the sky is heading straight for City J, while the winged succubus behind her stays tense and alert. Across a snowy mountain range, an orange-red beam tears through the air with thunderous booms, racing forward until it reaches the dense city skyline and slams violently into a white high-rise, triggering a massive explosion that scatters debris everywhere. Back in the forest clearing, Master Harem stands calmly within a shallow crater as multiple red system windows appear to announce a level up and 5 new attribute points. His red aura pulsing while he reflects that higher levels seem to require increasingly more experience. Curious to test a new power, he calls for Nico's cooperation, making Li Shuer nervous while the excited succubus floats with hearts in her eyes and happily agrees to anything her master wishes. The story gets crazier next. Subscribe and turn on notifications.